Hi there, I'm Ted Croy, and this is my presentation on the flipped classroom. It's a concept that we're going to be discussing here in the grad school. Many of us are interested in it, and I just want to put together a presentation on it to help get my colleagues up to speed on exactly what's going on with the flipped classroom. But basically what the flipped classroom is, in a nutshell, is it's a method of content delivery of educational material using technology. And that technology might include audio or video, kind of like what we're doing right here, in a user-friendly format. The students can view and review key concepts and on their own time, via like a YouTube link or something like that, and it can help free up the instructor. Basically what I'm getting at to be using the flipped classroom model is to get our students up to some degree of a baseline knowledge of our content, of some key concepts as I deliver my material. This is the first time I've tried to do this. This is my first foray into using some type of a video medium to deliver educational content here in the DPT program, but I think it can really help us out. Where did the flipped concept or flipped classroom concept come from? Well, it really came from it's been used in elementary education, high school education for a number of different reasons. One of those reasons is that they need to do crowd control. A lot of students, one teacher, they have to deliver math, algebra, and those kind of things to a lot of different students. They're doing different things that 8th and 9th and 10th graders do. We don't necessarily have those problems, but we certainly have shared problems of being able to deliver high-quality educational content to our students. It's also been used in undergraduate education as a means to, deliver content so that once students do come to class, they're already preloaded with some degree of information on their the stuff they're going to be talking about in class. Oops. So the kind of the standard model that we use, around here, is the lecture model. Basically, in the DPT program, it's about 50 minutes of lecture, a 10-minute break per hour, and we do that anywhere from 6 to 8 hours a day, mostly 8, and we do 6 to 8 times a day, and that's basically where the instructor delivers content passively to students, usually in a lecture-based format, using slides or handouts. In a sequence as the semester goes on, lecture 1, lecture 2, lecture 3, that kind of format. You guys are familiar with that. Generally, what I do, and I'm sure most of us have done and learned this way, is use of a PowerPoint presentation to do that. Either that or some type of a reading before class. They come or they should do some reading before class, and they should be able to come be prepared. And what the instructor's intent is that they should be able to interact. Does that really happen that much? Well, it's hit or miss, I would say. And then we also might assign homework assignments, give quizzes, give tests, and that's kind of the one over the world in how we're currently delivering content, at least how I see it. That's my own opinion. Others may do it differently, but we all understand this model. Kind of what the flip model does is basically the instructor, like we're doing right here, is the instructor pre-records segments of lectures. And I emphasize this, segments of lectures. Not whole lectures, not 45 minutes to an hour worth of one lecture, but just segments, key little snippets. There we can do video casting, which is what exactly this is right here. And then there's also this thing that's called screencasting, where you actually record your computer screen, and you can show, hey, this is how you manipulate this spreadsheet or do this statistical test. That's what screencasting is, and you can kind of do a voiceover as you do it. Both are fairly easy to do, and then you can publish it to YouTube or another video service like Screencast, and that can be very helpful. Then what the instructor can do is they can link that YouTube link into their course module, like in Baylor Blackboard. And then the student, when the student's ready, hey, they go in there, they hit play, there it is right there, they get their content delivered, and they can do it at on their own freedom to whenever they would want to do that. And so, they have it available to them. And, and then what we could do as instructors is we could assess their knowledge in class. You could give them a quiz. Hey, you were supposed to watch this video, bada bing, they get a 5-question quiz right when they come into class to kind of check and see if they have that. And if they are up to some level of baseline knowledge, then you can get into a higher level of learning, interacting, doing group projects, other types of assignments, and so you can kind of mix up how you use your time in your actual classroom time. And so it's really trying to get at an activity-based model of education. And so what we're really getting at here, in what I've seen, I could be wrong on this, is that when we look at learning styles, particularly among DPT students, we have visual learning styles, auditory learning styles, but mostly folks that come into physical therapy, and I would presume other medical professions as well, is they're really mostly kinesthetic learners there, with a mix of the other two, of course, but they're really, their learning styles are more hands-on. I'm that way. If I get my hands on something, take it apart, manipulate, do whatever, I learn better. I don't learn well in a lecture-based format. And so what we have talked about, Colonel Segrist and others have talked about, is the attention span of an individual student, over the course of a lecture, from 0 to 60 minutes here. What we usually see is that initially students have a high level of attentiveness at the early part of the lecture, and then after about 5-10 minutes or so, hey, the lights start to fade, they start to be thinking about other things, and now you got this valley of inattentiveness, through that middle part of your lecture, until you get towards the bathroom break or so. Then they start to pick up, and the wheels start turning again. You might get a little bit more interaction, but we have to take this into account. There's not a lot of high quality learning that goes on in there, I assume. I don't know, I just assume that there is. That there isn't a lot of learning that's going on in there. But basically what we also have to take into consideration is the level of learning. And if you look at Bloom's taxonomy model, is that what the lecture-based format is really getting at, the lowest level of learning is really remembering, right? That's really what we're getting at here. And then it moves up to understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and then finally creating or so. These are all higher levels of learning, and us in doctoral level education, we want to be moving up to these levels right up here. That's how with us in our own graduate level education, this is really where we're at. We're creating knowledge, we're evaluating knowledge, we're analyzing things that we do, we're taking part in research projects, formulating our own research projects. This is really where we operated as graduate students, and this is what we should expect out of our graduate programs here. However, how much of our content are we really testing down here, kind of the understanding and the remembering phase, which is, that is learning, that's basic content knowledge or so, but, in high quality graduate education, we really want to be up here. So, that's that. And now, how do I kind of see this model, helping me as an instructor? First and foremost is feedback. I have no idea what I look like or I sound like in lecture. I can self-correct myself. I can go back on this video, and if there's something that I said that was incorrect, I can go back and I can re-record it or so. I can erase all this type of stuff and I can do it over. The thing is that the key content can be available 24/7. The students can review it as needed, and I can update it as needed. And so they really have access to it, versus just the lecture model. All that they have is just the slideshow that we give to them, the handout that we give to them, and so it's kind of a one-shot deal. When I deliver my lecture, hey, what you see is what you get, and then what you spend a lot of time doing afterwards is fielding questions about, hey, did you say this, or what did you mean when you said that, and then you're trying to remember what was it that you said. Whereas in this format right here, hey, we can both look at it, and if it's wrong, it's wrong, and if I need to correct it, I can, or if the student needs to review it, they can. This, I think, would probably help me work up to my potential as an instructor, make the best use of my time. This way, I can deliver content on my terms. If I don't like the schedule that I build for myself for the course, hey, I can deliver content in this format right here. Students can access it. All I have to do is make it available. And then I can use that, say I have a Friday afternoon class when students they're 1 foot out the door anyway, and we have some important stuff to talk about. Hey, I can deliver it like this, and then maybe over the weekend when they're more ready to actually sit down and digest something, then they can go to a video format like this rather than trying to remember what I said at 1500 on Friday afternoon. The effect of the 08 to 1700 time constraint, here we only have so much time to work through, here in the graduate school within these time constraints. And so, by posting something